Hi everybody, this is Math 024 Module 2 Part 2, and in this part we're going to talk about division of polynomials. We're going to look first by division of a monomial and then look at division with binomials, so long division. So when you do division by a monomial, basically what you're going to do is you're going to take each term that's in your numerator and divide it all individually by that denominator, so that, like in this case for a, 2a. So it's really like when you're doing it, you're writing it as separate problems, and you don't always have to write it out once you get used to it, but like the 16a to the fourth would be divided by 2a. Keep our plus sign there because that's between the two terms, and then 20a squared divided by 2a. So now, remember rules of exponents. If we're dividing with the same base, then we're going to subtract our exponents. So first I'm going to deal with 16 divided by 2, and I know 2 goes into 16 8 times. And then a to the fourth divided by a to the first, 4 minus 1 is 3, so I'm going to end up with a to the third. Keep my plus sign now. 2 goes into 20 10 whole times, and a squared divided by a is going to be just a, because 2 minus 1 is 1. So our final answer is 8a cubed plus 10a. Now for b, again, we can write it out into the three different problems. So we have 30x cubed divided by 15x squared. And then I'll put the minus sign because it's minus 45x squared over 15x squared. And then plus 5x divided by 15x squared. So now when we go and do the math, 30 divided by 15, 15 goes into 30 2 times. X cubed divided by x squared is going to give me x. Next, I'll keep that minus sign. 45 divided by 15 is 3. And x squared divided by x squared, they're exactly the same, so they equal a 1. So we just kind of say they cancel out. So we don't need a variable there. Now, for the last part, I'm going to put my plus sign. And 5 over 15, that 15 doesn't go into 5 evenly. So I'm going to look at it more as a fraction here and simplify that fraction so I can divide them both by 5. And it becomes 1/3. Now, x, I have an x on the top and a 2 on the bottom. If I do, 1 minus 2, it's going to give me a -1 when I do the math. So right now I have this. I have x to the negative first power. But remember, we always want positive exponents. So when I go to write my final answer here, it's going to be 2x minus 3 plus 1 over 3x, because I'm going to move that x to the -1 to the bottom to make it positive. So that's my final answer there. All right, and let's look at C. And we are going to, again, I'll break it up. So I have 4x cubed times y over 4xy plus 12x squared y squared over 4xy plus 4xy cubed over 4xy. So when I go to divide, 4 divided by 4 is 1. So I can put the 1 there. I don't have to. X cubed divided by x, 3 minus 1 is 2, so x squared. And then again, our y's, they equal a 1, so we don't have to put that variable there because they cancel each other out. Now, 4 goes into 12 3 times. X squared divided by x, 2 minus 1 is 1, so we have 1x left over. Y squared divided by y is going to leave us with a y. Plus 4 divided by 4 is, again, 1. My x's will cancel out. They equal a 1, so we don't have to put that in there. And then y cubed divided by y is going to give us y squared, because 3 minus 1 is 2. So this is our final answer here. Dividing by a monomial isn't bad. All right, now we are going to look at something that you've probably never done before. with polynomials, and that is division by a binomial. So it's really long division with polynomials, and it seems scary at first, but once you get used to it, it's not bad. There's a couple things you need to do. When you write out your problem, you always want to make sure you have all the powers in there. So like for this problem here, we are doing 2x cubed minus 6x minus 7. But since we started with our highest degree as x cubed, we want to represent all of the powers going down. So like we have x cubed, we had to add in there, if you notice, x squared. And then we had our x and our 7. So you want to have all the powers represented from the highest degree, or the highest exponent, down to the constant term. And we wrote it in long division format, so I call it with the division house. And there's what we're going to do when we do our long division is the first thing we're going to do is we are going to divide. I'll show you what we divide. Then, just like with long division, we're going to multiply. Then we are going to subtract, or to spell, subtract, and then step 4, if needed, bring down. And then we'll repeat it all over again if we need to. So we'll go through those steps. So we divide, we multiply, we subtract, and then we bring down. I'm going to erase that so I have more space. I need a lot of space with these. All right, so when we divide, we are always going to divide by just the first term or the variable term in our binomial. So step 1 here, we're going to divide. And we're going to divide x into that first term. So we're going to divide 2x cubed by x. And when I do that, I'm going to end up with 2x squared. So I'm going to put my answer up here. Again, 3 minus 1 is 2, so we get x squared. Now, step 2, we multiply. So we're going to do our answer, 2x squared times the whole binomial that's on the outside, so the x plus 1. So the division part, you only use the first part, but the multiplication part, you use both. So when I distribute here, I'm going to end up with 2x cubed plus 2x squared. And now we're going to subtract. All right, and so this is where it gets a little tricky. We are subtracting this whole expression, the 2x cubed plus 2x squared. But remember, when we subtract, excuse me, it's like we have that negative 1 on the outside that we have to distribute. So that negative changes the signs of everything on the inside. So it's going to make that positive 2x cubed a negative, and that positive 2x squared a negative, because you take the opposite. So now when I go to combine like terms, I have, and this is what you want to see, that first term, the 2x cubed and the negative 2x cubed, they're going to cancel, which you want to happen. You want to get rid of them. And then we'll do the math for the second terms. 0x squared plus negative 2x squared is going to give me negative 2x squared. And then we are going to bring down the negative 6x. We're going to bring down until we can't bring down anymore. All right, so now we're going to repeat the steps. So now, again, we're going to divide. Probably going to run out of space. But we're going to take that first term in our problem that we have left, so negative 2x squared, and divide it by the first part of that binomial. So we're going to divide it by x. And that's going to give me negative 2x. So I'm going to put minus 2x on the top there. And then I'm going to multiply. So I'm going to take the answer, negative 2x, times the whole binomial, x plus 1. And it's going to give me negative 2x squared minus 2x. So now we're going to subtract. So again, we're subtracting this whole expression. This is the hard part. We have to change the sign. So since it's a minus, really think of it as distributing that negative 1. So this negative becomes a positive, and that becomes a positive. Now, the first two terms will cancel, which again you want. And then negative 6x plus positive 2x will give me negative 4x. And I need to bring down my -7. And it looks like I need to go through this one more time. So what I'm going to do first is, I know I have all those steps, but hopefully you wrote them down. If not, do that. I'm going to erase a little bit. And we're going to divide again. So now we are going to repeat until we finish. So we're going to divide -4x by x, and that's going to give me a -4. So I'll put that up there. And then I'm going to multiply. So I'm going to have -4 times x plus 1. So it's going to give me -4x minus 4. Then we subtract, so minus, and we're going to have in parentheses -4x minus 4. And again, distribute that -1. So take the opposite of everything on the inside. And that's going to give us the 4x's are going to cancel, which we want. And then -7 plus 4 is going to leave me with -3. Now, for this long division problem, we are done. But we do have what we call a remainder. And we can't, we're not going to add a decimal point like we would in long division and continue. We're going to take that remainder and we're going to write it as a fraction. So whenever you have a remainder, you're going to write it as a fraction. So we're going to put plus -3 divided by x plus 1. So whatever you divided by, that's how you're going to write your fraction with your remainder. If you end up with a 0 down here, then you don't need to have that fraction because your remainder is 0. It went in evenly. And I promise you right now, it looks a little scary, but we will keep practicing, and by the end, you'll be a pro. Okay, now we are going to do another long division problem, or two more. So first we have x squared plus 7x plus 6 divided by x minus 1. So remember, the second part is what goes outside that house. So we have x minus 1 divided into x squared plus 7x plus 6. And the nice thing with this problem is all of my powers are represented because I start at x squared, I go down to x to the first, and then I do my constant term. So that's nice. It's all there. All right, so we are going to start off step 1. Remember, we divide. So I'm going to divide the x squared by the first term in our binomial, so by x, and that's going to equal x. We're going to put our x right there. Step 2, we multiply. So we're going to do x times the whole thing we're dividing by, so x minus 1. And that is going to give us x squared minus x. So then we're going to subtract. Okay, so that is, we're going to subtract x squared minus x. But remember, because you have that minus sign, change it to the opposite on the inside. So it becomes a negative, and that becomes a positive. Again, x squared, negative x squared cancel, which is exactly what you want. And then positive 7x and x will equal 8x. And then we're going to bring down our 6. All right, we got to go through it one more time. So now, 4 we were bringing down. So step 5, again, we're going to divide. So we're going to take 8x. Oops. 8x and divide it by x. So we're going to get 8. So I'm going to put plus 8 there. And then we're going to multiply. So we're going to have 8 times x minus 1. So 8x minus 8. And then we have to subtract it. So we're going to do minus 8x minus 8. But again, the important thing here is, and I always just take the opposite, make them the opposite in there. So negative 8, positive 8. So that negative 8x and the positive 8x cancel out. And then 6 plus 8 is going to give us 14, which again is going to be my remainder. And I'm kind of running out of room, so I'm going to do a little erasing down here. But my answer is going to be, it was x plus 8, that's what we had, but then because we have the remainder, remember you have to write it as a fraction, so it's going to be plus 14 divided by x minus 1. And that will be our final answer there. All right, and I am going to erase the work, so if you haven't written it down, write it down, just so we have a little bit of space so I can do the other problem. Okay. All right, let's try B. First thing to notice in our dividend, what we're dividing, x cubed, x squared, x, and 7. So all the powers are represented from x cubed down. So we're going to have x plus 4 divided into x cubed minus x squared plus 5x minus 7. All right, so we're going to start off and we're going to divide x cubed, so the first term on the inside, by the first term in our binomial. So x cubed divided by x is going to give us x squared. And I'm going to write it right there. Then we multiply. So we're going to do x squared times x plus 4. And that's going to give me x cubed plus 4x squared. So now, step 3, remember we subtract. So we're going to do our minus x cubed plus 4x squared. And again, here, think, distribute that negative. So we're going to have our minus and our minus there. The first terms cancel. We have negative x squared and negative 4x squared. So that's going to end up being negative 5x squared. And step 4, we're going to bring down. So I'm going to bring down the 5x. And then we're going to start the process all over again. So first thing we're going to do is divide negative 5x squared by x, and that is going to give me negative 5x, because x squared divided by x is x. And then we are going to multiply, so negative 5x times x plus 4 is going to give me negative 5x squared minus 20x. Then we have to subtract. So I'm going to subtract the whole expression, which again means we have to change those signs on the inside. So it's going to become a positive 5x and a positive 20 because we multiply by that negative 1. So again, those first terms cancel, which we want. And then 5x plus 20x is going to give me 25x. And then bring down that negative 7. And we got to go through the process one more time. So now we are going to divide 25x by x, and we get 25. Oh, and you know what? I forgot to put my negative 5x up there. And then I'll put my plus 25. So I'm going to finish that off. Now we're going to multiply. So 25 times x plus 4 is going to be 25x plus 100. So we subtract 25x plus 100. So again, do that, take the opposite of each. So we get 25x's cancel out, and negative 7 and negative 100 give us negative 107. So again, when we go to write our answer, I'm going to do a little bit of erasing over here so I can write the full answer. All right, so our full answer is going to be x squared minus 5x plus 25 plus negative 107 over x plus 4. And that's it. Okay, now we're going to look at our final two long division problems. And with C, you may notice that our first one, we have an x squared and a constant term, but we're missing that x term. So when we go to write out our problem, we're going to have x plus 5 divided into x squared plus 0x, because when you want to add that term in, you want to keep it 0 still, but we need the x in there for combining like terms purposes. And then minus 25. So now we will do our division. So we take x squared divided by x, and we get x. So that's divide, and we multiply x times x plus 5 is going to give me x squared plus 5x. Okay, but remember, we do have to distribute that negative. So it's going to make this, I think of it like a -1 there. So that's going to become a negative, and that'll become a negative. So now when we do our combining like terms, x squareds cancel, and then 0x plus -5x is going to leave me with -5x minus 25 when we bring down. So we'll start over. Now we're going to take -5x and divide it by x. So -5x divided by x is going to leave me with -5. And now we multiply. So -5 times x plus 5 is going to give me -5x minus 25. So again, we have to go in there and do our subtraction. So negative or minus -5x minus 25. But again, that negative means take the opposite, which helps us out a lot here, because when we go to combine like terms, both of them cancel out and we get a 0. So that means that our final answer is just x minus 5. All right, so that one was nice. It worked out well. I'm going to erase the work that I have so I have more space for the other problem. It's a little bit longer. Okay, so now, we got a longer one here. We have 3x plus 2 divided into 9x cubed minus 3x squared minus 3x plus 4. Okay, so when we start off, we are going to divide first, and we're going to divide the 9x cubed by 3x, and that is, when we divide, we're going to get x cubed, so we're going to end up with 3x squared. So I'm going to put my 3x squared on top. Then we multiply, so 3x squared times 3x plus 2 is going to give me 9x cubed plus 6x squared. So then we subtract, so minus, and we have 9x cubed plus 6x squared, and then we distribute that negative. So our first terms cancel out, and we have -3x squared plus -6x squared, so it's going to give me -9x squared, and then we are going to bring down, so minus 3x. And we're going to start over, divide again. So now we're going to take -9x squared and divide it by 3x. And that's going to leave me with -3x. So I'll put my minus 3x on the top. Then we multiply -3x times 3x plus 2, which is going to equal -9x squared minus 6x. So when we go to subtract, we have -9x squared minus 6x. But again, distribute that -1. So everything on the inside becomes the opposite. So they become positives in this case. The 9x squareds cancel. -3x and positive 6x will leave us with a positive 3x. And then we have to bring down the 4. And we do it one more time. So 3x divided by 3x is actually going to equal, because it's the same on the top and the bottom, 1. So we're going to put plus 1 there. Then we do 3x times 3x plus 2, and that's going to give us 9x squared plus 6x. And, oh, excuse me, I made a mistake there. When we do the multiplication, it's not that. When we do our multiplication, it's actually going to be 1 times 3x plus 2, which is just going to give us 3x plus 2. Sorry about that mistake. So again, when I distribute that negative 1, it's going to be a negative 3x and a negative 2. So the 3x's will cancel, and 4 plus negative 2 will leave me with a positive 2. So then I'm going to write my answer over here. My final answer is going to be 3x squared minus 3x plus 1. And then because we have that remainder of 2, it's going to be plus 2 divided by 3x plus 2. And that is our final answer. And that is it for division with polynomials and Module 2 videos.